My beloved, they have told you that your voice is too quiet. Or perhaps they have told you it is too loud, too intense, too much. They have dismissed your words in meetings, talked over you at the dinner table, and met your heartfelt pleas for help with a vacant, distracted stare. They have, through their actions and their inactions, made you feel that what you have to say, what you have to offer, does not truly matter. They have silenced you, and even more painfully, you have lifted that same voice, raw with desperation and sincerity, to the heavens. You have cried out in the lonely watches of the night. You have whispered your deepest fears in the light of day. And you have often been met with what feels like an impenetrable, brassy, and indifferent silence. And so you have concluded the most painful thing of all, that even heaven is deaf to your cries. You feel that your voice is a sound lost in the vast, empty cosmos, unheard, unheeded, and unimportant. But they hear only with human ears, ears that are attuned to earthly power, to social position, to confidence, and to noise. And you have been listening for my answer in the whirlwind, but I have been listening to the cry behind your cry. They heard only silence, or they chose not to listen. But I, your creator, leaned in. I heard the desperate, unspoken prayer of your very soul. I need you to understand how intimately I have been with you in your experience of being silenced. I was there in that room when you, filled with a passionate idea, a word of wisdom I had given you, tried to speak. I saw you take a breath. I saw the hope in your eyes. And then I saw as your voice was drowned out by the louder, more confident, more aggressive voices of others. I saw you shrink back into your chair, feeling foolish, small, and insignificant. They dismissed you. And in doing so, the entire room lost the gift I was trying to give them through you. I saw it, and it grieved my heart. I was there when you cried out for help in your moments of deepest need. You pleaded for rescue, for relief, for a sign of my intervention. And when the help did not come in the form you expected, or on the timeline you demanded, you felt abandoned. You felt that your desperate cries were nothing more than echoes in an empty canyon, proof of your ultimate solitude. You thought no one heard, but I heard. I heard the panic. I heard the fear. And I heard the fragile trust that was hidden beneath it all. And I was there for the deepest agony of all the agony of your seemingly unanswered prayers. I have been a silent witness as you have poured out your heart to me on your knees. I have seen your tears dampen the pages of your Bible. I have heard your prayers, the most honest and raw expression of your soul, whispered into your pillow so no one else would hear. And I know that the silence, which often followed, felt like the coldest form of rejection. It felt like my back was turned to you. You began to believe the accuser's lie that your prayers lacked the proper faith, that your words lacked the right eloquence, or that your sin had created a barrier too thick for your voice to penetrate the heavens. You carry a message in your heart, a unique testimony of my goodness that has been forged in the very fires that were meant to destroy you. And you have longed to share it. You have longed to give the hope you have found to others. But no platform has opened. No one has asked to hear your story. You have felt like a messenger with a life-saving dispatch, but with no one to deliver it to. and you have feared that your unique voice and your unique purpose were being wasted. My child, you have judged the effectiveness of your voice by the response of earth. You have measured my hearing by the silence you perceive. But you must understand a great mystery of my kingdom. My hearing is not like human hearing. I do not just listen to your audible words. I listen to the frequency of your heart, as I hear the groanings of your spirit that are too deep for any language. I hear the prayer behind your prayer. I hear the intention behind the word, where they heard your hesitant, trembling words and dismissed them as weakness. I heard the beautiful sound of courageous faith, choosing to speak in spite of its fear, where they heard your cry of righteous anger at injustice and called it rebellion or bitterness. I heard the cry of a heart that beats in unison with my own, a heart that is broken by the things that break my heart. That sound is precious to me, where they heard your silence, the moments you had no words left, when your pain was too great to articulate. I heard the loudest and most profound prayer of all, the prayer of complete surrender. The prayer that simply says, I have nothing left. You are all I have. Where they heard nothing, as you wept silently into your pillow in the dead of night, I heard a symphony of trust and pain that moved my own heart to tears. Therefore, do not ever again believe the lie that your voice has been wasted. Do not believe that your prayers have been lost. The prayers you thought were weak have been powerful agents in the unseen realm. The words you spoke that were dismissed by men were honored and noted by the angels. The silent cries of your heart have been the subject of conversation at my very throne. Your voice, even in its quietest, most broken, and most ignored state, has been a sound I have leaned in to hear. To me, it is more beautiful than the chorus of 1,000 worlds, for it is the voice of my own beloved child. The world may have been deaf to you, but all of heaven has been listening intently. And not only listening, we have been recording. For every word you thought was lost to the wind, every prayer you feared had evaporated into the ceiling, has been captured, has been preserved, has been treasured. And now, I must tell you of the secret, heavenly record that I have been keeping of your every word. You now understand the foundational truth that I have heard every cry of your heart, even when the world and your own senses perceived only silence. But my hearing is not a passive or a fleeting thing. I am not a God who hears a beautiful sound and then allows it to fade into a forgotten memory. Every sound of faith that has ever escaped your lips or your spirit has been captured, has been valued, and has been eternally preserved. So now, we must take a journey together. I want to bring you into the great, hallowed library of heaven, into the vast archives where the true history of the universe is kept. And I want to show you the volumes I have kept about you. We must speak of my archives, of your unseen prayers. I know how you have perceived your own prayer life. You have felt that your words were like smoke, rising for a moment with a flicker of hope, only to dissipate into the empty air, leaving no trace. You have imagined your heartfelt pleas as seeds cast onto barren rock, never to be seen again, never to take root, Looking back, your prayer life can feel like a long and sorrowful history of futile, wasted, and unanswered effort. You fear that your words have had no substance and no lasting impact. But in heaven, there's a different and far more glorious reality. In my kingdom, nothing offered in faith is ever lost. In the great, light-filled archives of eternity, there are shelves filled with beautiful volumes, bound in love and inscribed in gold with your name. And these books contain every single word you thought had vanished, every sincere prayer for guidance, every desperate plea for help, every tearful intercession for a loved one has been meticulously recorded by my angelic scribes. These are not the records of your failures or your sins. Those have been washed away by the blood of the Lamb and forgotten. These are the chronicles of your faith, your hope, and your love. Let me show you what these archives contain. There's a special section in this library where I keep your tears. My scripture says that I collect your tears in a bottle. This is not just a metaphor for my comfort. It is a literal truth. Every single tear you have cried in prayer, tears of frustration, tears of grief, tears of longing, tears of repentance, has been collected and stored as a precious substance. They are your liquid prayers. And in the spiritual realm, these tears have a weight, a voice, and a power that is profound. The combined voice of your tears has been crying out before my throne, day and night, testifying to your sincerity and pleading for your deliverance. There's another vast collection of volumes dedicated to your groanings. The Apostle Paul wrote of my spirit, interceding for you with groanings too deep for words. This is not a mystical abstraction. It is a reality of your prayer life. There have been countless times when your heart was so overwhelmed, so pained, so confused, that you could not even form coherent sentences to pray. All you could do was kneel or lie on the floor and groan from the depths of your being. In those moments, my own spirit, dwelling within you, took those wordless, agonizing sounds, perfectly translated your heart's deepest need according to my will, and presented them to me. And those groans have been recorded in my archives as the most eloquent, most powerful, and most perfectly aligned prayers you have ever uttered. And then there's the largest collection of all, the volumes that have caused you the most pain to look at in your memory. These are the books that contain your seemingly unanswered prayers. You see this section of your life as a library of my denials, a testament to my silence. But I see it very differently. I see it as a heavenly treasury, a divine savings account holding immense spiritual capital in your name. Every prayer you have prayed for a promise that has not yet manifested has not been denied. It has been deposited. Every plea for a breakthrough that has not yet occurred has not been ignored. It has been invested. These prayers have been accumulating over the years, gathering a kind of divine interest, waiting for the perfect, appointed moment of withdrawal. My child, you think you are spiritually bankrupt. I tell you that you are unimaginably wealthy in the very currency of heaven, the stored up power of your own faithful prayers. Why do I keep such meticulous records? I do it. First, because your prayers are a memorial before me. Just as the scent of a beautiful incense fills a room, the scent of your prayers fills my throne room. They are a constant, sweet-smelling aroma that reminds me not that I could ever forget of your faithfulness. your love, and your persistent trust in me. Even in the long silence, I also keep these records because they form a legal basis in the courts of heaven for the breakthrough I am about to release. When I open the floodgates of my blessing upon your life, the accuser will not be able to stand before me and say that I'm giving you an arbitrary or unearned gift. I will simply open the books. I will point to the volumes upon volumes of your own faithful petitions. Your deliverance will not be an act of random whim. It will be the just and righteous answer to the long-standing, legally filed petitions of a faithful and beloved child. Your own prayers have built the legal foundation for your coming miracle. And finally, I keep this record to honor you. The world gives awards for visible accomplishments, but I give the highest honors for secret faithfulness. And on the day you finally stand before me for all eternity, I will take great delight in opening these books and showing them to you. And you'll see, with tears of overwhelming joy, that not a single moment of your struggle, not a single whispered prayer in the dark, not a single frustrated groan was ever in vain. You'll see how the prayers you prayed in one decade laid the foundation for the incredible victory that came in the next. You will see the beautiful, intricate tapestry of your own prayer life, and you will understand its profound significance. So I call you now to approach prayer with a new and bold confidence. Know that your words are not disappearing into a void. They are being heard, honored, recorded, treasured, and invested. Do not grow weary in praying now. Every prayer you pray from this day forward is another powerful deposit into your heavenly account. You are not starting from zero every day. You are adding to a great and powerful spiritual inheritance that is about to be released upon your life. Be assured, my child, you are not unheard. You are, in fact, one of the most well-documented beings in all of creation. Your faith, your hope, your love, and your cries have been written into the eternal history of heaven. The record is beautiful, it is powerful, and it is about to be answered. You now understand that every word you have ever spoken in faith, every prayer you have whispered in secret, has been heard and meticulously recorded in my heavenly archives. Nothing has been lost, but this truth, I know, leads you to a painful and pressing question. It is the question that has echoed in your heart during the long, silent years. My Father, if you heard me all along, if you treasured my words, then why the long silence? Why was I not answered? Why was my voice not given a platform to be heard on the earth? The answer, my beloved child, will require you to see your season of obscurity through my eyes. You were not being sidelined. You were being trained. You were not being ignored. You were being coached. While you felt you were languishing in a forgotten prison of silence, you were actually enrolled in my most exclusive and intensive masterclass. You were in a divine season of voice training. To you, it felt as though you were perpetually in rehearsal while others were giving their great and celebrated performances. You were in a small, quiet room, practicing your scales, singing your song to the walls while they were on the great stage, singing to a vast and appreciative audience. You felt that your message was ready. You believed that your voice was strong enough, and you chafed under the long, frustrating, and seemingly endless period of preparation. You longed for your debut, but you could not see what I could see, or hear what I could hear. I, your loving and eternal voice coach, knew that the voice you possessed, while beautiful and deeply sincere, was not yet ready for the acoustics of the great halls of your destiny. It needed to be strengthened. It needed to be purified. It needed to be perfectly tuned to the frequency of heaven. My silence was not a sign of my disapproval or absence. It was the sound of my intents. Love and focus, as a master teacher works with his most promising and cherished student. Your voice was kept in rehearsal because I love you too much to allow you to perform before you were truly ready. Let me tell you about the training you have been undergoing. First, we had to strengthen your diaphragm. A powerful, resonant voice does not come from the throat. A voice from the throat is thin, weak, and cracks under pressure. A truly powerful voice comes from the core, from the diaphragm, in your spiritual life. Your voice was often coming from the throat of your fleeting emotions, your intellectual knowledge, or your own willpower. It lacked true power. The long season of waiting, of having to trust me without supporting evidence, of having to stand firm when you felt like collapsing, was my way of strengthening the spiritual diaphragm of your spirit. I was building deep, unshakable character and a core of inner fortitude within you. Now, when you speak, your words will not be carried by the tremor of your throat, but by the solid, grounded power of your very core. They will have a new weight and a new authority. Second, we had to purify your tone. Your voice was sincere, but it was often colored by impure and dissonant tones that you yourself could not hear. There were the shrill, sharp notes of unrecognized pride and self-righteousness. There were the trembling, flat notes of deep-seated fear and insecurity. There was the harsh and metallic tone of unforgiveness and judgment that would creep in when you spoke of those who had wounded you. In the secret rehearsal room of your trials, through conviction and repentance, I have been working diligently to purify your tone. I have been using the fire of my love to burn away the pride. I have been using the balm of my presence to heal the fear. I have been using the oil of my grace to soften the harshness. The goal has always been to produce a voice that resonates with the pure, clear, warm, and beautiful tone of my own spirit. Third, you had to learn to sing my melody, not your own. You came to me with a song you wanted to sing, a message you wanted to give to the world. It was a good song, but it was your song, composed from your own ideas, your own ambitions, and your own understanding of truth. But I have a specific, unique, and far more beautiful melody that I have written for your life. And in the long, quiet hours of rehearsal, I have been teaching you to set aside your own composition and to learn mine. I have been teaching you my rhythm, which is often slower and more deliberate than yours. I have been teaching you my phrasing, which emphasizes humility and grace over strength and performance. I have been teaching you to listen for my heartbeat, the divine percussion that underlies all of creation. This has been a painful process for you, a process of deep surrender, of letting go of your own brilliant ideas so that your voice could become a perfect and willing vessel for the song I desire to sing to the world through you. Finally, in all this. I was helping you find your own unique timbre. I did not put you through this intensive training to make you sound like a copy of anyone else. The world is full of voices that all sound the same, chasing the same popular style, using the same tired phrases. My goal was the opposite. I was working to strip away all the layers of affectation, all the imitations of other speakers and singers you admired, all the masks you wore to be accepted. I was stripping you down to your most authentic, God-given voice. The voice that is now ready to be heard is not a copy. It is a stunning, one-of-a-kind original with a timbre and a resonance that has been shaped by your unique journey and my unique grace. What would have happened to us if I had pushed you out into the great stage before this training was complete? Your voice would have cracked under the pressure of the spotlight. The impure tones of pride and fear would have been amplified for all to hear, bringing dishonor to the very message you sought to deliver. You would have sung your own song, slightly out of tune with heaven's orchestra. The performance would have been a painful failure. My keeping you in the rehearsal room was one of the greatest acts of my love for you, protecting you from a premature and disastrous debut. But listen, the long solitary hours of rehearsal are now over. The scales have been mastered. The core has been strengthened. The tone has been purified. You have learned the melody of my heart. I, your loving coach, have listened to you sing in the final rehearsal, and I am leaning back with a smile of deep satisfaction. You are ready. The doors of the quiet practice room are now opening. You can hear the distant, expectant hush of the audience. The great spotlight is warming up. It is time for you to move from the rehearsal hall to the concert hall. Your voice is about to be heard. The long and hidden season of your voice training is complete. The tone of your spirit has been purified. Your spiritual core has been strengthened, and you have learned the very melody of my heart. And so, with a new and holy confidence, you have begun to tentatively use this new voice. You have spoken a word of hope here, offered a prayer of faith there, sung a quiet note of my grace into the atmosphere around you. And in doing so, you have discovered a painful and bewildering reality often. No one wants to hear your song. I know how this has confused and wounded you. You have spoken from the purest of motives, with a voice cleansed by my own hand, only to be met with resistance, with suspicion, with confusion, and sometimes with outright hostility. You have offered a word of radical forgiveness to someone, and they have looked at you as if you were speaking a foreign language. You have spoken of my extravagant grace, and they have called you naive and irresponsible. You have sung a note of profound hope into a situation, and it has been met with a wall of cynicism. This rejection feels like the ultimate failure. It makes you question the very training you have endured. It makes you doubt the message I have given you. It makes you want to retreat back into the safety of silence. But you have been looking at this dissonance all wrong. You have believed that this clashing sound, this lack of harmony between your message and the world's reception of it, is evidence that your voice is still out of tune, that your song is still flawed. But I must reveal to you a truth that will set you free to sing with boldness for the rest of your life. The dissonance is not a sign of your failure. It is the undeniable proof that you're finally singing a new and authentic song. It is the sound of the music of heaven clashing with the old, mournful, out-of-tune song of a fallen world. When your message clashed with their mindset, it was a sign of your great success. You must understand the nature of the world song. For millennia, humanity has been singing this song in a minor key. It is a sad and heavy song, and its lyrics are written in the language of fear, of scarcity, of self-preservation, and of deep, pervasive cynicism. The rhythm of this song is the frantic, anxious, and hurried beat of striving and competition. It is a song about earning love, about transactional relationships, about building your own kingdom, and about protecting yourself at all costs. This is the background music to which all of humanity has grown accustomed. It is so familiar that they no longer even realize they are singing it. But the song I have taught you in the secret place, the melody I have written on your heart, is of a different key and a different nature altogether. It is a song in a glorious major key. Its lyrics speak of extravagant, unconditional love. They speak of a radical, unmerited grace. They speak of an impossible and defiant hope that shines brightest in the dark. They speak of a peace that surpasses all understanding. The rhythm of this song is not frantic. It is the unhurried, steady, and powerful heartbeat of eternity. It is a song that calls for surrender instead of control, for forgiveness instead of vengeance, for generosity instead of hoarding. It is a sound that is utterly and completely foreign to the world's tired and accustomed ears. Therefore, when you, my beloved instrument, begin to play your pure note of grace into their familiar chorus of karma and deserving, it will inevitably create a jarring dissonance. They will not know what to do with the sound. When you sing your soaring melody of hope into their mournful harmony of despair, it will sound jarring and out of place to them. When you speak of surrendering control to a loving Father, to people who are desperately and fearfully trying to control every aspect of their own lives, your message will not sound like good news. It will sound like madness. Do not be surprised by this clash. Do not be discouraged by it. In fact, I am calling you to embrace it as a sign of your effectiveness. It is the unavoidable sound of light invading a dark room. It is the sound of truth confronting a long-held lie. It is the sound of a new and living paradigm breaking into an old and dying one. Look back now at those painful moments of rejection through this new lens. That time you offered free and total forgiveness to someone who believed only in vengeance and score settling the dissonance they felt, the anger they may have expressed. Was the sound of my grace challenging the prison of their pride? That time you spoke of my abundant provision to someone trapped in the small, cramped cage of a scarcity mindset. The confusion and disbelief you saw in their eyes was the sound of the walls of their prison beginning to shake. Your rejected words were not failures. They were powerful, dissonant seeds of a new music planted in their souls. And even if they rejected the sound at the time, I promise you that pure note continues to vibrate within them, calling them to a new and better harmony, troubling their peace with their own broken song. So what is your role in this world of clashing music? It is not, as you have been tempted to believe, to change your song to match the world's tune so that you can be better received. To do so would be the greatest tragedy of all. No. Your role is to become a divine tuning fork. It is to stand with quiet and humble confidence in the midst of the world's chaotic, out of tune orchestra, and to sound one pure, clear, an unwavering note from heaven. Most will find the note strange and jarring at first. They will resist it. But some, the ones whose hearts have grown weary of singing the sad old song, the ones who are secretly longing for a new melody, will hear your pure note. And they will, slowly but surely, begin to tune the strings of their own lives to it. You are not called to be popular. My child, you are called to be a pure note. So do not be discouraged by the dissonance. Do not be silenced by the rejection. Your voice is not out of tune. It is simply from another world. And I promise you this, the song of the world, with all its fear and striving, is a dying song. It is a song of entropy, fading into its own inevitable silence. But the song of heaven, the song of grace, the song I'm now beginning to sing through you, is the song of life itself. It is the song that created the worlds, the song that holds the stars in place, and the song that will one day fill all things with its glorious, harmonious melody. Keep singing your note. It is the beautiful, disruptive, and life-giving sound of the future. You understand now why your new voice, the song of my kingdom, creates a holy dissonance when it clashes with the tired. Old song of the world, you have begun to see that this clash is not a sign of your failure, but a sign of your authenticity. But there's another, more beautiful and profound mystery to your voice that you must now understand. For while your voice brings a necessary clash to the proud and the cynical, it will have a supernatural and healing resonance with the brokenhearted. You have looked upon your past suffering, your grief, your failures, your betrayals, your long winter of the soul as a liability. You have seen it as a shameful history that disqualifies you from speaking with any real authority. You have thought, who am I? A person who has known such brokenness. To speak of wholeness, who am I? Who has known such despair? To speak of hope, but you are looking at your past through the world's broken lens, which values only pristine, unbroken success. I see it very differently. I, the master musician and divine luthier, have not wasted a single moment of your pain. I have used your season of suffering not as a detour from your destiny, but as the essential and irreplaceable process of giving your voice its unique power, its beautiful timbre, and its healing authority. You must understand this truth. Your pain gave your voice its power. It is the very source of your unique and powerful resonance. Consider the making of the world's finest musical instruments, like a cello or a violin. A solid, uncarved block of wood cannot make music. It can be struck, but it produces only a dull, lifeless thud. It has no resonance to create an instrument that can sing. The luthier must first take a beautiful piece of wood and hollow it out with sharp and painful tools. He must carve away at the inside, emptying it, making it hollow. The long, painful process of your suffering the seasons where you felt emptied out by grief, hollowed out by loss, and carved out by disappointment was my holy process of creating a resonant chamber within you. I was creating space. I was hollowing you out so that my spirit would have room to move and vibrate within you. The deeper the hollowing, the richer, the warmer, and the more profound the sound the instrument can ultimately produce. Your emptiness has become your capacity for my fullness. The wood of a fine old violin is said to remember every song that has ever been played on it. Scientists have found that the very cellular structure of the wood is changed over time by the vibrations of the music passing through it. Your soul is like that in your season of pain. Your very being learned to vibrate at the frequency of sorrow. Your soul remembers the feeling of loneliness. It remembers the vibration of fear. It remembers the dissonant chord of betrayal. And now, when you encounter another person who is vibrating with that same frequency of pain, your soul instinctively recognizes their song. It begins to vibrate in a gentle, sympathetic harmony with their pain. This is the heart of true empathy. It is a connection that goes far deeper than words. They will feel that you get it, that you understand, and they're guarded. Wounded hearts will feel safe enough to open up to the healing you now carry. And from this resonance, a new and unshakable authority is born in your voice. You cannot speak with true authority about my faithfulness in the fire unless you have been burned. You cannot speak with convincing authority about my ability to heal a broken heart unless your own heart has been shattered and mended by my hands. You cannot speak with authority about my light shining in the darkness unless you have wrestled through a long and terrifying night yourself. Your past pain, which the accuser has tried to use as your disqualification, has now become your highest and most holy credential. When you speak of my grace, it is not a lovely theory you have read in a book. It is a rugged testimony that you have earned with your own tears. When you speak of my comfort, it is not a shallow platitude. It is a deep and quiet strength that you yourself have received in your darkest hours. This gives your voice a weight, a gravity, and a credibility that cannot be faked, cannot be duplicated, and cannot be easily dismissed. Therefore, your voice, the very one you thought was too broken or too quiet, will now become a powerful healing instrument in my hands. When you speak to the brokenhearted, they will not hear the tinny sound of judgment or the hollow echo of pity. They will hear the warm, wooden, resonant sound of a fellow sufferer who has found a way through, and their spirit will instinctively trust you. When you sing your song of hope, it will not be a trite, cheerful optimism. It will be a rugged, tested, and resilient hope that has survived the fire, and its sound will ignite the dying embers of hope in their own souls. Your voice, precisely because of the pain it has known, is now perfectly and uniquely tuned to bring healing to the broken people I will send to you. This is why you must stop seeing your past suffering as a source of shame. I am calling you to embrace your own story with all of its painful chapters. Do not hide your healed wounds. They are not blemishes on your testimony. They are the very source of its beauty and its power. They are the F-holes on the violin, the very openings that allow the music to come out. To deny your past pain would be to rob your voice of its richest tones, to mute its greatest power. You once cried out to me in your own pain, and in the silence, you felt you were unheard, but I heard every cry, and in my divine wisdom, I have not just healed your pain, I have redeemed it. I have transformed it. I have taken the very cries of your suffering, and I have woven them into a beautiful, powerful, and healing song for you to sing to others. The voice that once cried out for comfort will now become a voice that brings comfort to multitudes. The voice that once whispered in fear will now speak with a quiet authority that makes demons tremble. And this was my plan for you all along. Your pain has given your voice its eternal purpose. You have been through the long and arduous season of voice training in the secret place. Your tone has been purified of pride and fear. Your spiritual core has been strengthened to support a new weight of glory. Your heart has been hollowed out to create a chamber of profound resonance. The long, frustrating, but necessary season of rehearsal is now complete. The time has come for your voice to be released into the world, but it will not be released with the same faint and easily ignored volume it had before. For I am about to do a new thing. I am about to give your voice the audience it has always longed for. The period of your quiet whispering is now officially over. The time of your unheard cries is finished. Therefore, I, the Lord of hosts, the one who spoke worlds into being with a single command, the one whose voice is like the sound of many waters, am now leaning down from my throne in heaven, and with infinite love and purpose, I am placing a divine, supernatural amplifier before the lips of your spirit. I am turning up the volume of your soul. I am amplifying your spiritual frequency. In the past, you have struggled to be heard. You have felt that you had to shout to get anyone's attention. And even then, your voice was lost in the cacophony of the world's noise. You have exhausted yourself trying to make an impact, trying to make your words count. But that season of striving is over. From this day forward, you will no longer have to fight to be heard. I myself will become the sound system for your soul, and I declare to you a new reality for your life. What you whisper will echo like thunder. What you now speak in a quiet whisper of faith on earth will be heard as a thunderclap of authority in the spiritual realm. What you declare in the privacy of your prayer closet will be broadcast across the heavens, setting angelic forces into immediate motion on your behalf. This divine amplification will change everything. First, your words, now aligned with my will and amplified by my spirit, will carry a new and startling authority in the spiritual realm. The demonic powers of darkness that once harassed you and whispered lies of condemnation in your ear will now tremble at the sound of your voice. Why? Because when you speak, they will no longer hear only the voice of a struggling human. They will hear the voice of a child of God, amplified by the power of the Holy Spirit and backed by all the authority of heaven. When you speak my name now, it will not be a desperate plea. It will be a command that they must obey. When you speak my promises over your life and your family, you will be releasing the very creative power that framed the universe, pushing back the darkness and establishing my kingdom in your midst. You are moving from being a victim of your spiritual atmosphere to becoming a thermostat who sets the temperature of it. Second, your amplified voice will now have the supernatural ability to impact the hearts of people. It will bypass the cynical defenses of their minds and speak directly to the deepest part of their spirit. People who once dismissed you as quiet or insignificant will now find themselves strangely captivated when you speak. A simple sentence of truth spoken by you will echo in their minds for days, troubling their darkness, challenging their assumptions, and calling them toward the light. You will no longer have to strive to be convincing or eloquent. You will not have to argue or debate. My spirit, carried on the newly amplified frequency of your voice, will do the deep, internal work of conviction and revelation in them. Your words will be seeds, and my spirit will be the water that makes them grow. This means your prayer life will be utterly transformed. You are now moving from a posture of merely petitioning heaven to a posture of legislating the will of heaven on earth. You will, of course, always come to me as your loving Father with your requests and the desires of your heart. But you will also learn to stand in your new authority and speak with a new boldness. You will learn to speak to the mountains of impossibility in your life and command them to be moved into the sea. You will learn to speak to the raging storms of your circumstances and command them to be still. You will learn to speak life to the dry bones of dead situations, and they will respond, because it is not your voice alone they are hearing, but the creative power of your Father, amplifying and endorsing your every word of faith. But my child, with this new amplification comes a great responsibility. This new power is not for your own ego, not for winning arguments, and not for building your own kingdom. It must be wielded with immense humility, with great love, and with constant, careful attention to my will. You must now be more diligent than ever to ensure that the words you speak are born of my spirit, not of your own fleshly reaction. For a whisper from you now carries the weight of a shout, a casual, thoughtless words spoken from a place of frustration can now do more damage than ever before. You must learn to speak with divine intention, knowing that all of heaven is listening to and amplifying everything you say in faith. So I'm calling you now to open your mouth with a new and holy confidence. The time for your fearful silence is over. The time for believing the lie that your voice doesn't matter is finished. Speak. Pray aloud in your home. Declare my word over your family. Release the unique message I have placed in your heart, without fear and without apology. Do not worry about how it will be received on earth. Do not measure its effectiveness by the applause of men. Simply know this as you speak in quiet faith on earth. Your voice is being heard with thunderous clarity in the heavens, and all of creation is beginning to respond. Your voice is no longer a faint sound lost in the wind. It is a finely tuned instrument played by the hand of a master musician, and it is now being broadcast through the very sound system of heaven. The long silence has been broken. The new song is being released. Let the heavens, and the earth, hear the beautiful, resonant, and powerful sound of the voice I have given you. Your voice, my child, is now amplified by the very Spirit of God. Your frequency has been tuned to the harmonies of heaven, and your words now carry a new and holy authority. But an amplified voice, if used improperly, can be jarring or even destructive. A microphone in the hands of a fool creates a painful noise, but in the hands of a trained singer, it creates beautiful music. You must now learn how to use this new heavenly authority with the wisdom, grace, and profound love with which it has been given to you. In the past, because you felt so deeply unheard, you often spoke from a place of desperation. You would raise your voice, trying to shout over the noise of the world, hoping to force someone to pay attention. Or you would argue and debate, trying to prove you were right, hoping to win the argument, and thus validate your existence. Or, when these things failed, you would fall into a resigned silence, believing it was useless to speak at all. And these were the coping mechanisms of a silent soul, and they were understandable. But you are no longer silenced. Therefore, you must learn a new way to speak. The fundamental shift in your communication must come from this one. Glorious truth you no longer have to speak for attention. You now get to speak from a place of guaranteed and undivided attention. The King of the universe, the Lord of all creation, is leaning in to listen to your every word. This knowledge must change the very posture of your soul and the way you open your mouth. This is how you use your heavenly authority. First, you must learn to speak with humble confidence, because you know you're heard in heaven. You no longer need to be loud, aggressive, or demanding to be heard on earth. In the world's economy, the loudest voice in the room often wins. But in my kingdom, true authority is quiet, settled, and confident. Your new confidence is not in the brilliance of your own arguments or the cleverness of your phrasing. Your confidence is in the one who is listening to you in heaven and backing your every word of faith with his own power. Therefore, you can now speak the truth with a gentle, peaceful, and unshakable authority that will be far more powerful than your old shouting ever was. The less you need to prove, the more powerful you will be. You will. Second, you must learn to pray with bold faith. Your prayers now carry the full weight of your amplified, heavenly authority. So I invite you to approach my throne with a new boldness. When you are praying for things that are clearly according to my revealed will and my promises, you no longer need to approach me with timid, hesitant, or weak language. You can now pray with a holy and respectful boldness. As a beloved child coming to a loving Father, you can declare my promises to be true over your situation. You can remind me of my own word, not because I have forgotten, but because it demonstrates your faith in my integrity. You are not just a beggar at the back gate of heaven. You are a son, a daughter, with full access to the throne room, invited to come confidently to receive mercy and find grace to help in your time of need. Third, you must now release your unique message without fear in the school of obscurity. I have crafted a unique song within you, a specific message that you and only you can deliver to the world. In the past, you have kept this message hidden. You have softened its edges. You have withheld it because you were afraid of how people would receive it. You were afraid of being rejected, mocked, or misunderstood. That fear has been a cage for the beautiful bird of your testimony. The time for that fear is over. You must now release what I have put inside you. Speak your testimony. Write the book. Start the ministry. Share the idea. Sing the song. Your job is not to manage the outcome. Your job is not to control people's reactions. Your job is simply to be a faithful steward of the unique voice and the specific message I have given to you. Release it. And trust me with the results. Some will reject it, but the ones I have prepared to hear it will receive it as a life-giving word from heaven itself. And finally, you must learn to speak words that create, not just describe, because my creative power is now amplifying your voice. Your words, spoken in faith, carry a new potential. I am calling you to stop using your powerful, amplified voice merely to describe your negative reality. Stop giving voice to the darkness by saying, I am so tired. This is impossible. Nothing ever changes. By speaking those things, you are giving them a substance and a power they do not deserve. Instead, you must begin using your words to create your new, promised reality. You must learn to speak to your situation, not just about it. Speak words of life to the dead bones in your life. Speak words of peace over your own anxious heart. Speak words of blessing over your family and your future. You are now partnering with me in the ongoing work of creation through the words you speak in faith, but always remember the nature of this authority. It is not the world's authority, which is about power over others. It is my authority, which is about power for others. It is not about controlling people or dominating situations. It is a relational authority that flows from your perfect intimacy with me, because you have spent so much time in the secret place, listening to my heart. You now have a better sense of what my heart wants to say. Your authority comes not from your own strength, but from your perfect alignment with my will. It is a borrowed, delegated authority, and its power lies in your complete and utter dependence on me, the true source of all power. This is a great and holy responsibility I am entrusting you with. It is a sacred privilege of a son and daughter who has come of age, who has been proven faithful in the secret place, and who can now be trusted in the public square. I have invested much in you. I have trained you, purified you, and now I have amplified you. Use the powerful voice I have given you for my glory. Use it to bring healing to the broken, hope to the hopeless, and light to the darkness. Step into your new role as a spokesperson for the kingdom of heaven. Your voice has been prepared. Your voice has been amplified. And a world full of hurting, silenced people is now waiting to hear the clear, resonant, and life-giving sound of heaven through you. You have been given the instructions for how to operate in your new authority. You understand now how to speak from a place of being heard, how to wield your voice with humble confidence, bold faith, and creative power. But as you stand on the precipice of this new season, I want to give you one final, glorious promise to anchor your soul for all of eternity. It is a promise about the true weight, the true substance, and the ultimate permanence of the words you will now speak in my name, for we must now speak of the eternal echo of your voice. The world is filled with an endless river of words, the words of politicians, of philosophers, of celebrities, of news anchors. They are loud and seem important for a moment, but they are ephemeral. They are like ripples on the water, spreading for a moment and then vanishing, as if they had never been. The great libraries of humanity, filled with their finest thoughts, will one day turn to dust. The digital servers that hold all of their accumulated knowledge and endless chatter will one day fail. To the finite human mind, all words, all sounds seem destined for oblivion. But the words that are born of my spirit and spoken through your amplified, redeemed voice are of a different substance entirely. They are not merely temporary vibrations in the air. They are living things. They are seeds of eternity. They are infused with a spark of my own divine life. And so I make this final covenant with you today. Every word of truth, every prayer of faith, every declaration of hope, every costly word of forgiveness, every gentle word of love that you speak in my name from this day forward will have an eternal echo. Your voice, my child, vote, will outlive the stars. You must understand the eternal significance of this. When you, in your new authority, speak a word of life into a broken and hopeless person, and that word helps to turn their heart toward me, you are not just impacting their day or improving their temporary circumstances. You are altering their very eternity. That single word of encouragement, which may cost you little, becomes a golden link in a chain of redemption that will stretch forward for millions and millions of years into the glorious expanse of eternity. The fruit of the words of love you speak today will continue to grow and multiply long after you have left this earth and have come home to me. The words of faith you speak on earth are recorded as testimony in the courts of heaven. They become part of the great, eternal cloud of witnesses, future generations of saints, and even the holy angels themselves will study the record of your faithful declarations during your time of trial as a testament to my goodness and your courage. Your voice, the one you thought was so small and insignificant, will become a part of the everlasting song of redemption, a harmony in the great anthem of the redeemed that will be sung around my throne forever. Your story will be told as a story of my faithfulness. And every time you open your mouth and speak a word of truth in a world that is saturated with lies, you are doing more than just stating a fact. You are wielding a weapon of light. You are pushing back an ancient and encroaching darkness. Every time you declare my unconditional love, you are dismantling a lie from the pit of hell that has held people captive for generations. Every time you choose to bless and not curse, you are engaging in spiritual warfare at the highest level. Your words are not just for the present moment. They are a direct assault on the timeless fortresses of the enemy. You are not just a spectator in a cosmic story. You are a key warrior, and your primary weapon is the redeemed, amplified, and authoritative voice I have given you. Do you understand the profound weight and privilege of this? It means that no word of love you speak is ever small. No prayer of faith is ever wasted. No testimony of my goodness is ever insignificant. Your life is no longer about just making it through your days. You're now an active co-laborer with me, speaking eternal, life-creating, and darkness-shattering words into the very fabric of reality. This is your high and holy calling. It is to be a vessel through which the eternal word can be made manifest in time, bringing my kingdom to earth as it is in heaven. So do not hold back. Do not guard your words out of fear. Speak the truth I have given you. Lavishly pour out words of encouragement and blessing on everyone you meet. Pray bold. Declarative prayers. Sing your unique song with all your heart. For the words you speak today in love and faith are creating echoes that will resound through the corridors of eternity long after the mountains have crumbled into the sea. And so, my beloved child, my trusted voice, my eternal song, be at peace. The journey has been long, from the agony of being silenced and unheard, through the secret training of the wilderness, to the glorious amplification of your purpose. I have been with you, the voice that once cried out in the lonely darkness, unheard by men, now echoes in the halls of heaven for all time, a testament to my redeeming power. Your life and your words now have an eternal weight and significance that you can rest in. You no longer need to strive to make your mark on the world, for your every word of love makes an indelible mark on eternity. Like a single stone dropped into a calm lake, the ripples of your faithful voice will spread out infinitely, touching shores you will never see. You are a single, precious candle. Yes, but I will use you to light 1,000 others, who will in turn light 1,000 more. Your legacy of love is secure. Speak now, not with the pressure of performance, but with the peaceful, joyful confidence of a child whose every loving word is captured, treasured, and preserved by their Father forever.